The annual meeting of shareholders for the Walt Disney Company is rapidly approaching, with its date set for March 20th, 2025. In preparation for this event, shareholder proposals are being filed with the SEC, and one party has taken issue with how Disney conducts its businesses, particularly as it relates to bias within its media, and even alleges that Disney has made efforts to mislead investors. Let's talk about a very intriguing shareholder proposal filed with the SEC here on That Park Place.
If you're a research nerd like me, you might, if you feel like it, go over to the SEC filings of the Walt Disney Company. There are all kinds of interesting things going on. We are in the proxy season for the Walt Disney Company, and while there is not a fellow like Nelson Peltz banging at their door this time, the proxies are not without some contestation here, if I can make up a word. Maybe it exists. So there is a organization called the National Legal and Policy Center that sent in some shareholder resolutions here to the Walt Disney Company, and they should be on the proxy statement, but apparently there's a problem here. So this is a proxy memorandum from to the shareholders of the Walt Disney Company, the case to vote for item 5, considering of participation in the Human Rights Campaign's Corporate Equality Index. And it's on page 86 of the proxy statement. Okay, that's very dry for me to say that real quick. But here's the charge here. Be aware of at least 2 attempts by Disney to mislead investors surrounding the listing of item 5 and how it is published in the 2025 proxy statement. Unlike the first 3 management proposals, which, by the way, those are the ones that that Disney actually puts in themselves. The board members put those in themselves. Which Disney helpfully enumerates. Shareholder proposals have no number at all on the proxy statement, which makes reference of these items for proxy readers and voting shareholders opaque. They didn't even number the ones that Disney didn't come up with themselves. They just kind of listed them there. So this is some shenanigans that the National Legal and Policy Center are calling out on Disney here. And what is in those shareholder proposals? First of all, before we get to that, Disney management changed the name of proxy voting item 5 as it's listed in the proxy statement and on the proxy voting card. It is identified by the company as consideration of participation in the Human Rights Campaign's Corporate Equity Index, but the title submitted was request to cease CEI participation. More neutral sounding, company written title misrepresents the nature of the proposal and misleads voting shareholders. For more than 2 decades, numerous corporations have actively participated in the CEI survey created and sponsored by the Human Rights Campaign. Hey, Culture, are you familiar with the Human Rights Campaign?
Oh, yeah, they're complete scumbags. They're the people driving the LGBTQ into basically every corporate, and you get a grade or a scorecard whether or not you measure up with their index. And this is like the corporate version of like guaranteeing the inclusivity, the DEI inclusivity part of that. So yeah, they suck.
I would say they're also part of the push that puts this into children's content.
Well, that too.
Well. By the way, there's more than one of these. The National Legal and Policy Center has another one. They say, oh, here we are again. No numbers at all. Disney changes the name. This time it was report on risks related to selection of ad buyers and sellers. But But the one submitted by the National Legal and Policy Center was respect civil liberties in advertising services. Now, according to reports from thatparkplace.com and a helpful whistleblower, we provided the document here, so there's really not much to contest it. Disney has never contested this. The Walt Disney Company has been a leader in entertainment, setting industry benchmarks. However, in recent years, the company has faced mounting criticism for its financial underperformance, politicized decision-making, and internal practices that may pose significant risks to its brand reputation and shareholder value. This document outlines its rationale for this proposal by examining Disney's recent financial woes, its political bias, controversies tied to its role in support of the Global Alliance for Responsible Media, otherwise known as GARM, and the potential benefits of issuing a comprehensive review of its advertising practices. If you don't know what this is about, they're bringing up Lightyear and Strange World being politically motivated. The parental rights and education bill, sometimes referred to as the Don't Say Gay bill, and of course the fact that they pulled off of X, even though Disney was still advertising on TikTok at the time.
And GARM collapsed like a house of cards after pressure from Musk and a lot of investigative reporting revealed just exactly what that was, what their mission was, and they went out of their way to harm anybody who wasn't complying with their super woke ways.
This is, I would say, this whole thing reeks of political bias and definitely putting shareholder value last. X is a place where if it really is free speech, if that ends up being, oh, that's the right-wing talking point, why would they want to get out of right-wing spaces? Last time I checked, right-wing people had money as well.
I mean, that's what I thought as well. I mean, there's an old adage, even criminals on death row brush their teeth. The idea being that, hey, look, listen, if you're in the toothbrush business or in the toothpaste business, you do sell your product to anybody that you can sell it to. That's kind of a good business. Now, we might disagree with the people that we do sell those products to, but the role of a business is to stay in business and to hopefully build out your web of people that you do sell your product to as much as possible. So why would you split that audience? Why would you only cater to one side of that audience when you could have maybe all three or both sides?
The thing I would like to point out is that Bob Iger is a communications guy. That is almost the entirety of his skill set at this point, other than paying for large purchases with other people's money, that being the Disney shareholders here. The $7 billion for Pixar, good choice. The $4 billion for Marvel, the $4.06 billion for Lucasfilm, that's a little bit more iffy there. And of course, the $70 billion that they paid for Fox, at least to start. This is something where Bob Iger, the newsman, who is not a Disney guy, he's an ABC Capital Cities guy. He looks at things like this and says he wants to set the narrative. So his stand against Elon Musk was not a forward-thinking, money-making stance. It was I want to own the cons on this one. Although I would say Elon Musk being a conservative is it's an overly simplified take on him.
Yeah, but also at the same time, I mean, Bob's a weatherman, so he only gets things right half the time.
That's right. He puts his finger in the air to see which way the wind is blowing. But there are times when he is trying to move the wind in a favorable direction. I think this is one where he got his hackles up and decided, no. We're going to say that this guy is wrong here, despite owning one of the major social media platforms. Made it very personal. So I don't know. I don't know if these shareholder proposals will go anywhere. In fact, I don't think they will. But it is always interesting to me when Disney has to push to its shareholders, because it's the SEC filings. Hey, by the way, here's people saying that you're being misled by us. There you go. Do with that what you will.
Thanks for watching That Park Plays News. For more information, consider checking out www.thatparkplace.com. And don't forget to subscribe, share, like, and send this out on your favorite social media accounts.